solving unknown fractional equations. Solving equations that have a fraction in them is very similar to using the multiplication method that you've already learned. We have a problem written on the board here that uses a fraction. It says Bill spent 5/8 of the money he earned mowing a lawn to purchase a baseball bat costing $15. How much money did Bill make mowing the lawn? If we read through the problem, we're trying to find out how much money Bill made. So the money that Bill made, it will be his earnings, and we'll call that the variable E. That's what we're trying to find, is how much money did he earn mowing the lawn. If I read through the problem, it says he spent 5/8 of the money he earned mowing the lawn. So I'm going to have 5/8 of his earnings. 5/8 times E. You can see this is a multiplication problem. And it says that amount is $15. So 5/8 of his earning total $15. Now in this problem I want the E to stand alone. So I want to do something that will get rid of that 5/8. And a simple thing to do with fractions is to multiply by their reciprocal. That way I can get the numerators and the denominators to cancel out. So I have 5/8 times E. I'm going to invert this and multiply by 8/5. When I do that on one side of the equation, I need to remember to do it on the other side of the equation as well. Now the reason I do this is when I multiply by the reciprocal, I know that the numerators will cancel and the denominators will cancel. And that leaves me only with E on the left-hand side of the equation, which is what I wanted. So I have E equals, and I need to do the math to find the solution to this part of the problem. I'm going to rewrite 15 as 15 over 1 to help me remember that it's a fraction. And I'm going to reduce this fraction by knowing that 5 will go into 5 as well as into 15. I'm going to take 5 into 5, it will go 1 time, and take 5 into 15, and it will go 3 times. When I multiply my problem together, I have 24 over 1, which of course you know is 24. So his earnings seem to be $24. If I want to check my problem, I'm going to come back to the original problem, and it says he spent 5/8 of the money that he earned. So I have 5/8 of the money that he earned, which is $24, and I think that should be the cost of the bat, which is $15. If I rewrite the 24 as 24 over 1, it will make this a little bit simpler to do. I know that 8 goes into 8 once, and 8 goes into 24 3 times. I'm left with 5 times 3, or 15, over 1, which is 15, which is of course equal to 15. So the problem checks out. When you're doing a problem with a fractional coefficient, to solve this problem, all you need to do is multiply by the reciprocal on both sides of the equation. That way you can get your variable by itself and solve the problem.
I have on the board 2 problems regarding pulleys. One is about the RPM of a pulley, and one is about the diameter of a pulley. And this is a formula for pulley speeds and diameters. And it's W2 equals W1 multiplied by diameter 1 divided by diameter 2. Now, where did I get this formula from? And there's all kinds of books out there that have algebraic formulas. Here's one, Technical Shop Mathematics, Mathematics at Work, a shop reference handbook. Here's Machinist's Handbook. And in it they have thousands of formulas, all kinds in this book. You can just see the size of it in small print. And there's people that study metals and study these different things about materials, and they come up with these kind of formulas. And so you don't have to memorize them, you have to know how to find them. And this is what I want to really stress. You don't have to memorize formulas like that, because there's books that will give you these formulas. But once you know how to do algebra, algebra becomes very simple. All you have to do now is plug in the numbers to get the answer. But you have to understand how to do algebra. Now let's look at this problem here on the board. Number 1, a motor with a 5-inch pulley, that's up here, this is a 5-inch pulley, runs at 2,760 RPM. So this wheel, this pulley wheel, the revolutions per minute, that's what RPM stands for, is 2,760 revolutions for every minute. And it drives an 8-inch pulley, that's this pulley over here, it's driving this. So the motor's on here, it's driving this pulley, what is the RPM for this wheel 2, what is the revolutions permitted of the 8-inch pulley? Now let's go to this formula and just plug in the numbers and solve the problem. So W2 equals, that's what we want to find out. So W2 equals W1, and W, the wheel 1, and that's the RPM, is 2760 multiplied diameter 1. Diameter 1 is 5 inches by diameter 2. That's 8 inches. So the problem becomes then W2 equals 2760 over 1 multiplied by 5 over 8. 8 goes into 8 once, 8 goes into 27, 8, 16, 24, 3, and 3 over. 8 goes into 36, 8, 16, 32, so that's 4, and it's 4 over. 8 goes into 45, so it's 345. Let's do that over here. 345 times 5 is 25. 5 times 4 is 22. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 17. So W2 equals 1,725 RPM. So the RPM of the 8-inch pulley is 1,725 RPM. Now I've taken this in number and made another problem with it, number 2. And that's this over here. We put this number over here and say we don't know the diameter of this pulley. Now we know what it is from over here. It's 5 inches. But I just want to show you how to use this formula. So now we have, let me erase this, the math I did over here. Number 2, a pulley runs at 2,760 RPM. That's this small pulley over here. We want to find the diameter of this pulley. And an 8-inch pulley, that's this one over here, runs at 1,725 RPM. What is the diameter of the pulley running at 2,760 RPM? So we want to find the diameter. Now we know it because we have the answer over here, but just want to show you how to use the formula. All right, so let's just plug in the numbers. So W2 equals 1,725 equals W1. The RPM is 2,760 multiplied by diameter 1, and that's the unknown. That's the one we have to find. D1 divided by diameter 2, which is 8 inches over here. 8, and we'll just put a 1 under it. So 8 goes into 8 one time. 8 goes into 27. 8, 16, 24. That's 3 with 3 left over. 8 goes into 36. That's 4 times. 8, 16, 24, 32. And there's 4 left over. 8 goes into 40 5 times. So it's 1725 equals 345 over 1 multiplied by D1 over 1. So 1725 equals 345 times D1. There's 345 D1 over 1. So that's equals to 1725 equals 345 D1, and we divide each side by 345. 345, and this will cancel out. So 345 divided into 1,725, and D1 equals 5. So D1 for this pulley over here is 5 inches. And I wanted to show you how simple it is once you understand how to do algebra, and you find the formulas, all you have to do is plug in the numbers and you'll get the right answers.
Please pause the video now and complete the problems in your workbook. When finished, press play, and we'll continue with the next lesson.